All right, welcome back to the newest episode of Herbie Sports Talk. Thank you for joining in. I am Tyler, Big Herbie Herbach, and as always, across the table is
Travis, Lil Herbie Herbach. Nailed it!
Nailed it!
Finally.
Awesome. All right, man. So, fun episode today. We get to go over the NFL draft that just happened the last 3 days. We're had a day or so to kind of collect and think about the draft and who we thought had a really good draft, who had a bad draft, poor picks, good picks, all that kind of stuff. But first, we need to recap our own mock drafts that we gave you guys last week.
Yep.
As I said last week, though, if you guys have never done a mock draft, please go and try one. They're very difficult.
Yeah.
They take a lot of thought and they take up a lot of time. It's not as easy you can't compare it to let's say the NCAA tournament because you're just picking one team versus one team. You're trying to accurately predict 32 picks
across hundreds of college players.
Yeah, and you don't know where you don't know what these teams' draft boards are. Trades happen in the middle of the draft that are almost they're harder to predict than the picks are themselves.
Yeah.
So it's really, really difficult, but it's a really fun and engaging thing to do. So let's go ahead and start at the beginning. The three ones that we got right and almost everyone in the world got right.
Yeah.
So we're not really special on these ones, but we both got Trevor Lawrence going 1, Zach Wilson 2, and Kyle Pitts 4.
Yeah.
Like I said, those were very easy to figure out. Everyone basically had that happening. The only twist was maybe if Atlanta decided to go with the quarterback would seem unlikely.
Yeah.
And then Travis absolutely killed it with the Bears moving up to get their quarterback. He got the wrong quarterback. He had Trey Lance because he had Justin Fields already off the board.
Yeah.
But
flip the QBs.
Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong. They moved up to 8, correct?
No, they moved to 11.
To 11. Okay, I thought I had them jumping all the way up to 8.
Right.
So a little farther back.
Yeah. So, but still, that's still a big jump in the middle of the first round.
9 picks.
Yeah, 9 picks. It's tough. And I said last week that it'd be really hard to get them going all the way up to 8.
Right.
But it is. It was a great pickup. A great prediction there. Travis also absolutely nailed Mac Jones falling to New England.
Yeah.
I was all in on the Mac Jones to San Francisco.
Right.
That's where they're traded. That was the name. The second they traded up was Mac Jones. I'm glad they didn't go with Mac Jones, just because I don't think Mac Jones.
No, they did the right pick. They made the right choice.
So, but yeah, you nailed Mac Jones going there. I have a couple more half point things. I had Jalen Phillips going at 18. I had Tennessee moving up to get him. Yeah. But Tennessee didn't trade up at all. Miami stayed pat and took Jalen Phillips, so it was I'll give myself half a point. I don't know. I'm trying to be easy. And then at 19, I had Washington taking the wrong linebacker. I had them picking a linebacker. They took Jamin Davis, and I had them taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who somehow fell to the second round, which we'll get to here in a little bit.
And somehow you still say that name correctly.
I practiced.
Best pickups for the value, best pickups for talent, comparison to what the team needs, stuff like that.
Yep.
So hit me with, what's your number one? Your number one guy that you're that was a great pickup. Or maybe you don't have them in order, I don't know.
I don't really have them in order. I was just kind of just going through the picks team by team and just writing down as I went. But I have a few written down here. I think my favorite, let me just jump right in. My favorite pickup is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Cleveland was able to get him in the second round at pick number 52. That was almost the end of the second round.
Yeah.
Most people expect him to be a first round draft pick. He was picked about a full round later than we expected. That's amazing value. and they didn't really need like a stand-up linebacker, but he is a guy who can do a little bit of everything there. He can cover tight ends and slot receivers.
Right.
He can play a little bit of safety. He can put his hand. He can actually rush the back a little bit too. He's quite the Swiss Army knife that if the defense can find the right ways to utilize him, will make a massive impact.
What would you give him a comparison to as a linebacker in the NFL currently? Is there somebody that's close?
Yeah, he's very much in the mold of like the Isaiah Simmons from Clemson last year, who Arizona took. Arizona had some issues trying to figure out how to utilize him, but he's in that kind of that skill set of being able to do kind of everything. Kind of like Budda Baker kind of does that, where he's all over the field for Arizona.
Safety, linebacker, kind of in between.
Yeah, he's bigger than Budda. He's bigger than Budda.
I'm thinking maybe what if we put him more in a Clay Matthews type of role, where he could line up on as like a fourth man on the end, edge rush. Easily, probably a much better coverage linebacker than Clay Matthews ever was.
Right, Clay was mostly an edge rusher.
But that was from how the Packers run the D. So maybe you get a 4-3, goes in a 4-3 that Cleveland runs.
Right.
Maybe you get that extra guy to kind of stand up on that edge.
Yeah, he's just an X factor. He's gonna be one of those guys that you can utilize in a lot of different positions and very uniquely, and it's gonna end up working out for him in the long run.
Right. Okay. I think you just like saying that name. I think he's just lying about it all, but
no, he's actually a really good player.
No,
and he's a great name.
I like it. So,
and you call him the Joker, JOK.
No, that's right.
He could be the Joker in the NFL.
We'll find out. I guess we'll find out. For me, I didn't personally rank him either. I guess the one I love the most because I think the value is so good at this pick, where it's Travis Etienne to the Jaguars to reunite with Trevor Lawrence, his running back.
Okay.
I mean, 25 at the end of the round. Everybody predicted he was going to be the top running back off the board. A lot of them didn't even see him going in the first round. They thought him and Najee Harris both slipped to the early second rounds.
Possibly, yeah.
And I actually had Najee in my own mock draft going to the Jets at 23. I had him going first. I thought that was a good value. But I liked the draft. We saw a lot of teams combine college quarterbacks and college players on the same team back into the NFL. Whether they came out the same year together or they're 1 year difference.
Yeah.
There was like 3-4 teams that combined players from college back together in the pros.
It was weird. It was Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle and Tua, Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith.
Yeah, and Travis Etienne, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, it was weird.
I like it. It's an interesting system if you can make it, especially when you have all these young players. That helps their chemistry so much quicker in development and getting into the rhythm of the NFL world instead of college. So I like that pick. That was a huge one for me. And similarly, I had Najee Harris right there at the top two. So I had, like I said, I had him going 23 to the Jets. Mm-hmm. He fell to 24 to Pittsburgh, which was actually even a better setup in his running style. And he fits Pittsburgh way better than he fits Jets.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, a lot of people had Najee going to Pittsburgh. I personally didn't love that pickup just because I feel like they have such a weak offensive line. Right. And I feel like they needed to really beef that up some. But he's also the type of runner that he's a really hard-nosed runner. He's always falling forward. And so he's going to fit in that Pittsburgh mold perfectly.
Exactly, yeah. His personality, his play type fits Pittsburgh.
It does.
So I was like, that was a really good pickup.
For sure. Let me jump into a couple. There's a couple other guys that fell in second round that are absolute steals. Mm-hmm. Las Vegas took Trayvon Merrick, safety from TCU, who could have been a first-round pick. They got him at 43. He's gonna be an absolute stud. And then New England's out again, taking Christian Barmore at the top of the second round, who was the best defensive tackle in the draft. He's very much like Chris Jones. He's a very good pass rushing defensive tackle. There's the one thing about people think he might fall because he doesn't take coaching very well. Apparently, is a report that's come out. But that's not gonna fly in New England. If Bill Belichick thinks he can coach him up, then he's gonna be able to coach him up.
And if he doesn't, he'll trade him out. How many guys have you seen Bill Belichick who had star seasons but don't fit the mold of the system? Mm-hmm. Gone.
Oh, Bill Belichick's always the type of person to try to get rid of a player 1 year too early rather than 1 year too late.
Yep.
So he'll get rid of Barmore real fast if he doesn't pan out.
Yeah, that's a good point. You got a good system for him to get his crap together too if he is in that kind of uncoachable mode right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so Creed Humphrey, the center out of
Oklahoma,
thank you. Chief is at 63.
Mm.
I mean, he was one of the top rated centers in the draft. You got him in the third round, beginning of third round, or very end of second.
Yeah, I mean, he was basically just between him and Landon Dickerson from Alabama.
Yeah, But I love the pickup. I think the value is a steal, and the fact that you think of what the Chiefs have done to the offensive line this offseason. We saw Patrick Mahomes get destroyed in the Super Bowl with his offensive line just running for his life. And they go pick up Orlando Brown. They go pick up Joe Thuney, and they get drafted center on the draft. Like, they just revamped that whole offensive line very smoothly.
Yeah, the thing is that I thought was interesting about that is that the only reason he was running for his life is because they lost both of their tackles, pretty early in the year, and they lost their starting guard. He opted out because he's a doctor, and was working on for COVID.
Yeah,
like so they were going to have Mitchell Schwartz back, and they're going to have the guy on the other side, the left tackle. I can't remember his name right now. Fisher, yeah, Eric Fisher back, and they were going to get their guard back, who has a 3-word name. It's French. I can't say it.
But it's okay. I mean, now you get Orlando Brown, a top tackle. You get Eric Fisher back as long because he had an ACL tear.
No, Eric Fisher's gone. They cut him. They cut both Fisher and Schwartz.
Oh, excuse me. I didn't know that. Yeah. I thought Fisher was coming back still. Either way, I think they did a good job bringing in good talent. I mean, for sure, Brown and Thuney are both all pro linemen.
Yeah, and you get your guard back who was a Pro Bowl guard.
Yep.
So you add Creed. Yeah, you add Creed Humphrey. I mean, it could end up being a very solidified line.
Yeah. So I like that. I do have 2 more. I don't know how many more you got.
I got a couple more on me.
You got a couple more? All right. I'll hit you with one more. You mentioned his name earlier, Asante Samuel Jr.
Yep.
Fell to 47 to the Chargers. One, great pickup for the Chargers. They needed defensive help like no other. I mean, outside of the defense and the offensive line, they have great weapons everywhere, but the defense is atrocious. Lost the majority of the games, which we've already mentioned in podcasts previously. But that's a great pickup. I mean, he wasn't rated top 3 cornerbacks in terms of drafting, but at that level, the top 2 are already gone. It came down to 47, so that pickup was
I think we both had LA taking, I had him taking J.C. Horn, who obviously went much earlier than we expected.
Right.
Or not much, with a few picks earlier. But they were definitely in line for one of those top 2 corners, him or Pat Surtain, if one of them were to fall.
Yeah, and both of them left earlier than the Chargers could get him.
Right.
But then you go, Chargers don't even use their first pick on a defense. Or not on a cornerback, and they get Asante Samuel Jr. in the mid-second round, just sitting there waiting.
Yeah, they made the next biggest need. They picked up Rashawn Slater to solidify their offensive line. You have to protect Herbert down there. So and Slater could end up being a really, really good player. They're probably going to try him at left tackle. For whatever reason he doesn't pan out quite as left tackle, he'll go in and be a dominant guard.
Be a massive guard.
Yeah. Like they definitely see him being able to play either or.
Right.
So it's gonna be. I think he's gonna be a guy who, I'm not sure gonna be like a Pro Bowler or an All Pro. He could be, but he's definitely gonna be a guy who's solid for 12, 14 years.
Yeah. Good guy. Good pickup. What else do you got? What are you seeing?
So obviously, I mean, this should go without saying, but the Bears made a great job of jumping up, being aggressive, and getting their quarterback.
Right.
Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace are fighting for their jobs this season.
Yeah, 100%.
And them going to get their quarterback is great. Plus, he can sit for a little while because they do have, Andy Dalton and Nick Foles still there. So he can sit and learn a little bit. If they have to throw him in week 1, that's probably not their goal. But
no, Matt Nagy already said that Andy Dalton will get the starting job. They've solidified that. They're not going to try to – it sounds like they're not trying to ruffle the QB house feathers and mess with the system. He did say in an interview, Matt Nagy did they said when it's time for Justin Fields to go in and start, everybody will know it. Though it sounds like, organization-wise, there's going to be a feeling at some point in time, whether it's year 1 or year 2, that it's time for the young buck to come in and earn the stripes, take over.
I mean, I think for sure at some point this year he will come in and start start probably the second half of the season at least, if not earlier. Yeah,
at some point either Dalton's getting benched or him and Foles are going to go back and forth because they're both going to lose ridiculous games. And then it's almost going to be like a Jalen Hurts situation, throw him in, let's see what happens. Right. And then kind of you'll probably win the starting job.
For sure. So, but with that being said, my favorite trade of the first round actually goes to an NFC North rival, the Minnesota Vikings. So I think they were really wanting to get Rashawn Slater at 14 where they were, but he was right. He was at 13 to the Chargers. So Minnesota drops back all the way to 23. They move back 9 places, still get Christian Darrisaw, who's probably the guy that they were going for the second Rashawn Slater was off the board anyways.
Right.
You move back 9 spots and still get the guy you want. Crazy value. Plus they picked him an extra pick in I think the 4th round this year to do it. So that's huge for them.
Yeah.
Plus they really need an offensive line. Their offensive line is awful. Mm-hmm. And it's not like Kirk Cousins is a Blazer back there. So, and just moving forward a little bit, New England had another really good pick, Ronnie Perkins, who they got in the 3rd round, defensive end, who could have been a high 2nd round pick. They got him like back end of the 3rd round. That was a really good pickup.
Yeah.
Another edge rusher that I really liked was the Giants getting Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia. Got him right in the middle of the 2nd round. He was a fringe 1st round player. Like those are all really good values.
Yeah. I like those.
And then just to top all of it off, my winner of the draft, my favorite draft class because of the value and what it adds to their team, goes to the Carolina Panthers.
Nice, yeah.
So I think
I had them as one of my top teams too.
Yeah, I mean I think they took J.C. Horn a little bit early. 8's probably a little fresh for that, or a little too right for my liking. But I mean he's gonna be he'll be the number 1 corner there immediately. So that's not the worst pickup. But it's the other 3 picks that I'm highlighting here that I think puts this draft up. They pick up Terrence Marshall Jr. in the 2nd round.
LSU receiver.
Big receiver. He had 23 touchdowns. in 2 years.
Yeah, LSU is a breeding ground for receivers this last 3-4 years. Just absolutely disgusting what's coming out of there.
With that, Terrence Marshall Jr. is re-teaming up with Joe Brady, who was the offensive coordinator at LSU when they won the national championship. When he was on that team, now he's offensive coordinator with Carolina. Huge. Like he already knows how to use them.
Yeah.
They also picked up Chuba Hubbard in the 4th round, who's going to be a perfect complement to Christian McCaffrey, and somebody that they can really rely on to actually give Christian McCaffrey a break instead of running him into the ground every season. Yeah. I know last year's first year he dealt with like injuries and missed a lot of seasons, but he was still getting like 400 touches a year. Yeah, it's too much. You're going to kill the kid. And then on top of that, right after they pick up Chuba Hubbard, they also get Davion Nixon, defensive tackle from Iowa, who could have gone in like the 2nd or 3rd round, got him back in the 5th, who's gonna be he's probably just a 2-down line, but he's an absolute run stuffer, and that's gonna be right in the middle of that defense. Plus, he'll free up some people not be able to get up. They got to Shaq Thompson behind him there at linebacker. So I think they had my favorite draft, like top to bottom. They had a really good draft. I think they picked up a lot of holes. And just a lot of depth, a lot of value here.
Yeah, I had 4 teams as my best teams. Panthers being one of them. I do have one more individual pick though I do want to mention before I hit a couple teams. Trey Sermon, running back from Ohio State, 88th to the 49ers. That value at how far he dropped. He was never a big prospect, but he's not. He's a solid back.
He's big. He's a big dude. I mean, this dude.
He's a big dude, but he's got speed.
Straight lines. He's not gonna like wow you in moves, but he's gonna run your ass over.
Yeah, but I like him with the 49ers because him as you put him in maybe as a 3rd down back as a 2nd to Raheem Mostert, and you get Trey Lance in there, and you get Trey Lance and those 2 running backs. That's a lethal combo in that backfield. You can do a lot of things.
Trey Sermon actually reminds me a lot of Gus Edwards from Baltimore.
Okay.
Like not a lot of flash their game, but hard nose, hard running.
Right.
You're not gonna want to tackle him.
Yeah, I like that. Value wise, at 88, how far he dropped. I think that's killer value. So my other good teams I had on here. For me, the number 1 for me was actually the Chargers.
Okay.
I don't have them technically ranked, but if I had to just pick one right now, I'd say Chargers.
Okay.
9 total picks, 4 on defense, 5 on offense, but just the picks where the needs that they needed as a team, the fill-ins they needed, the picks they needed, they filled all the holes. Defensively, they got 2 cornerbacks, a linebacker, and an edge rusher. So they got a little bit over the board of where they needed. Offensively, they got 2 tackles and a tight end. Mm-hmm. I missed one there on the offensive. No, excuse me for that.
They took another offensive lineman, Brendan James, out of Nebraska. They took a running back from Missouri, Larry Roundtree III.
That's the one. I left out the running back because it didn't seem necessary to mention him because you won't more than likely get a lot of snaps year 1.
Yeah.
But on defense, they filled the holes. They filled the holes in the offensive line, and they still have great talent in every other skill position right now.
Right, and they did attack their 2 biggest weaknesses in their first 2 picks.
Yeah.
Corner and tackle. Yeah, corner and tackle. Yeah. Knock those out, and after that, you get just some depth picks. Chris Rump should be a decent pick for them because they need some help on the edge. They have Melvin Ingram. They also have Nick Bosa, but Ingram I think is actually gone now. They don't have a lot of depth, even if he's back. They don't have a lot of depth behind those 2 guys. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I like it. Who else you got there?
I I also love the Jets picks. Obviously, I mean, they had 1,000 draft picks from the Jamal Adams trade. 10 picks for offense, 6 defense. And again, they covered kind of just a whole array of areas. Obviously, the entire team is a rebuild. New head coach, new GM, new QB, new everything. But, I mean, offensively, you got a QB, obviously, and
Luke Wilson.
Why am I blanking on his name? Yeah, number 2 pick overall. He's my dumbass. QB, offensive line, a receiver, and a running back. There. Defense, you got 2 safeties, 3 cornerbacks, and an interior defensive lineman. So they filled some holes.
The running back from North Carolina a lot too.
He's a sleeper.
Yeah,
he's gonna be a sleeper in the NFL.
I like that they also picked up a second Michael Carter. That's cool too.
Do you see him go back and forth on Twitter?
Yeah.
He's like, "What's up, Michael Carter?"
Yeah.
He's like, "What's up?"
It was pretty funny. They picked up Michael Carter, running back from North Carolina, in the 4th round. Then they picked up Michael Carter, the second cornerback at Duke, in the 5th round. It was pretty funny. Weird circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Carter is not that much of an odd name by any means.
No.
But being on the same team, that's pretty funny.
That, but also like the percentage of getting from college to NFL in terms of like players, NFL players, football players going from college to pro, it's like 1% of everybody who plays college.
Right.
So the fact that you get 2 Michael Carters, even in that are eligible to be drafted, go to the same team is one of the most rarest things you can see.
It's also great too because like you don't have to worry about their jerseys because it's Carter and Carter 2.
You always know which one's which.
Shout out Weezy.
Shout out, right? Throwing out some bangers.
It's just automatically Carter and Carter 2. It's great. So that's just a kind of a fun little tidbit there with the Jets.
A little tidbit. I got one more team.
All right.
This one, maybe I think most people are kind of underrating just because they were already a solid team. The Cleveland Browns. Most people are like,
dude.
Huh?
They got my dude.
The dude got your dude.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
God, this guy. He's not just trying to show off. But anyways, 8 picks overall, 5 on the defense, 3 on the offense. And obviously the offense is great, one of the best offensive teams in the league. But they did pick up a receiver and an offensive tackle. Just more as a fillers, more depth to the roster. Defensively, I think they got exactly what they needed, though. We know that defensive line is absolutely monstrous. But they did lose Sheldon Richardson.
He could be back.
Maybe back, but either way, they drafted an interior defensive lineman. They picked up a safety, a corner, help that back end because they struggled with some receivers, and 2 linebackers. Add some more depth in that middle of that field, gets it spread it out a little bit, change up some looks.
Yeah, and Greg Newsom's going to come in and be a stud.
Yeah, Greg Newsom at that corner is going to be
right. You're going to be able to combine it with. They have Greedy Williams. They had a kid from Alabama from a couple years ago. They have a really good young secondary. They picked up Johnson from the Rams, and they actually picked up another cornerback from the Rams this offseason too. They picked up 2 guys.
Yeah. So I
Troy Banks, I think was maybe his name.
So yeah, I mean, I predicted them to hit the playoffs this past season at 10-6. You had them 1 game out, I think.
Yeah, they had them just missing,
and then obviously they looked good. They filled some holes. They got more talent. They're going to be a dangerous team.
Oh yeah, and plus it's just another year under Stefanski.
Yeah.
I mean, Stefanski was a first-year coach last year.
Yeah. Him and Baker and the mentality they have going, the look, the forward progress they're making, everybody seems like they know the goal.
Right, and hopefully, I think part of it too. OBJ put out a video today. He's running real fast already.
Nice.
It's just a straight line, which is fine on ACL. He's not doing cuts or anything like that yet. But a whole offseason, I know he's rehabbing, but a full offseason for him and Baker get more on the same page will be huge. Especially last year was a short offseason, or really a non-existent offseason.
Yeah. They
had no way of getting that vibe. So, I mean, the Browns are looking good.
Yeah, looking really good.
The only issue with the Browns is that they're in the AFC where you got the Chiefs and the Bills.
Yeah. Yeah, that is going to be one of the best divisions of football.
The top of the AFC is stacked.
Yeah, good. I'm so excited for the NFL season. Just talking about the picks and like how the teams and the talent they added. I think this year NFL wise with the full off season, COVID's kind of under control. They kind of figured out how they want to run things. Not as much chaos. I think we're in for a hell of an NFL season.
Get fans back in the stands.
Fuck yeah, boy.
Woo!
So, let's talk some shit.
Oh, I'm ready to talk shit. I'm ready to talk all this shit.
Let's go. So let's talk about some stupid picks here. Some stupid picks, some really bad drafting teams.
All right, let's hit the obvious one. The Las Vegas Raiders.
I was about to scream something else.
Oh no! We'll get there. The most ridiculous pick in the first round, by far. Alex Leatherwood was drafted at 17 to the Las Vegas Raiders. And I know Mike Mayock and John Gruden are known to like do some stupid shit. Mm-hmm. This one ranks up there. He shouldn't. He was supposed to go like second, maybe even the third round. What are you doing picking him at 17? Like I thought I was watching the Seahawks draft room. You know, it's normally the Seahawks make dumb moves. Like people are like, "What the hell are you doing?" You know, taking running backs that weren't expected to go in the first round, or Justin Britt, who was like a 5th round prospect who took in the first round, like stupid shit like that. Like that's what I'm expecting to see. But you know, Mike Mayock and John Gruden have taken that mantle and they're holding it strong.
Yeah, I saw ever since in the last 2 years of Gruden and Mayock being combined there, their number one pick in the past 2 drafts, they were all projected like late second rounders, and they all drafted about a round on average ahead of what was projected.
Well, except for Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs was projected as his first round pick.
No, yeah, but the last couple of seasons they've had multiple guys who are like, what the hell?
Right.
Like they're drafting a whole round in advance.
Right. And that sucks to say because they also did one of my favorite picks was with Trayvon Merrick in the second round. It's like you could have taken Trayvon Merrick where you got him, and gotten something probably even better than Leatherwood. And also the weird thing about that too. On the board, so you still had Christian Darrisaw there. Mm-hmm. You had Tevin Jenkins there. You had like 3 or 4.
Tevin Jenkins would have been such a better setup too.
Like there was like 3 or 4 other tackles that were rated much higher than Alex Leatherwood was.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, he is a monstrous of a human being.
Yeah, he's huge, but but if you watch his tape and you read the analysis, he's stiff. He's not very fluid of a mover.
Right.
And that's not going to bode well in the NFL, especially when you're in the AFC West and you're going to have guys like Bradley Chubb come around the edge for Denver. You got Frank Clark in Kansas City. Yeah. You have Joey Bosa for the Chargers. Like, he ain't gonna block any of those freaking dudes.
Yeah, you better open them hips and really drop. But you better quick. That first drop step got to be fast. That's only if he is stiff on reporting. That drop step off the snap has got to be.
I predict Alex Leatherwood leads the NFL in false starts.
Shit.
Because he's going to try to get that jump so fast. False start.
That's possible. So my other one this is a hard one because there's either it's like everybody loves the pick or everybody hates the pick. It's back and forth. Jamar Chase, Bengals to the 5th. If you watched our mock draft, we said that's ridiculous. Yes, great talent. Yes, he'll kill it in the NFL more than likely.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be a stud receiver. We're not saying that wrong. The issue is they have other needs, much bigger needs.
The issue is like they did address him a little bit. They did pick up a offensive lineman through free agents. They did draft another offensive lineman with their 2nd overall pick.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things, but it's like Jamar Chase, like, yes, he's and like I don't know, it's hard. Everybody's like, oh, they're gonna probably be the best tandem between like the college QBs and the receivers. You know, you see the 3 groups that are called together. They're probably going to be the best. They'll probably put up the most touchdowns or interceptions between each other and whatnot. It makes them highlight plays. But what the hell does that matter if Burrow gets his knee broken in half 8 weeks in again?
Right.
And if that doesn't, it could be this year, it could be next year. At some point in time, if they really don't hunker down that offensive line, he's going to get smashed.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. Yeah, they did pick up, I think it was Riley Reif in free agency, which is great. But we're talking about a guy in Penei Sewell, who is being talked about as the next Orlando Pace or Jonathan Ogden. Like, how? I mean, granted, that obviously isn't always going to happen, but how could you possibly not take that guy? It's not like Jamar Chase is Jerry Rice.
Yeah, exactly. He's not getting those comparisons. So I don't know. It's a hard one. I think it's completely ridiculous. Again, it's a pick that their needs at that point in time in the 5th overall, they did not need to pick up a guy.
Right. I mean, I know that they picked up Jackson Carman in the 2nd round, but he's a guard, not a tackle anyways.
Yeah.
And you could argue guard was a bigger need for them as it was because they have Jonah Williams at left tackle and Riley Reif at right tackle, which is cool, but Riley Reif's not a Pro Bowl starter by any means. And I just feel like picking up Penei Sewell, putting him at left, and moving Jonah Williams to the right side, which is where he played the first 2 years in the league when he was with them. And granted, he was hurt from one of them. That's where he played right tackle anyways for them. Like, you're going to have 2 bookend right tackles for the next 10 years to protect Joe Burrow.
I think it's completely stupid. Even if Joe Burrow doesn't get hurt this year, like, at all, like, say he has a fantastic 2nd year, and him and Chase could put up 10 touchdowns combined, it doesn't even matter. Like, going forward, future-wise, I can't trust Cincinnati, which I don't think anybody trusts their front office to begin with.
No.
And it's like, when they made that pick, it's like, my initial thought, well, Cincinnati Bengals organization exactly is what we thought of them. Exactly what they've been for the last 2-3 decades. They are wasting talent. They don't surround the team with great skill level, and it just seems like they're just picking some guy that looks good on paper, almost. So
yeah, I mean, they've been known to kill their stars, which biggest one being Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
They absolutely ran him into the ground, and he had a great resurgence in his career after he retired until they finally traded him.
Yeah.
But then even when they were good and they made the playoffs 5 straight years when they had Andy Dalton there and with Marvin Lewis as their head coach, the reason they never got past the wild card round is because they would never make the big move that would put them over the top to make them great.
Yeah.
They were good, but they needed something to be great, and they never made that move, even though they had opportunity to do so.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That pick to me is ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I do have one other pick that I thought was kind of ridiculous, too.
Yeah.
This one's obviously not like a big receiver, skilled, talented guy. But Peyton Turner, the Saints' first overall pick, 28th to the Saints.
Uh-huh.
Defensive edge rusher.
From out of Houston, I believe.
Out of Houston, correct. He only played 4 games in college this past season. And he only had a 90 pass rushing grade overall. One of the lowest out of the edge rushers in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 overall, and Saints pick him in the first round with their highest pick on the board. It's like the Saints, you have so many more needs, more than an edge rusher, let alone an edge rusher that's not even worth a first round pick to begin with.
Yeah, it was definitely weird. I mean, he was definitely I think Kuiper and McShay both had him as a 4th or 5th round prospect, super low. So that's really, really interesting.
Like, you're telling me at 28, yes, all your main options are guaranteed probably gone at that point.
Right.
But I guarantee you, there's a hole that you needed to fill a lot more than your defensive edge rushers that you could have got more value from.
Yeah.
And they decided just to, I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but
I don't know.
That's what they went with. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't line up with what the team needs.
No, it really doesn't. I'm not sure what they unless they know something that no one else in the NFL knows.
Maybe.
Which, I mean, they could. Maybe they do. I don't know. So be interesting. The other pick that I thought was really weird was actually Green Bay taking Eric Stokes at 29. Okay. He wasn't even the best cornerback on his team last year. It was Tyson Campbell, who actually had them predicted in the mock draft going, who was rated much higher than Eric. Eric Stokes is blazing fast. I'll give him that. But he overplays most things. He's just not that. There's more polished cornerbacks that they could have taken. Asante Samuel Jr. being a huge one.
Being sitting there.
So I thought that was a weird pick. Plus, I mean, I know they did finally go out and get a receiver for Aaron Rodgers in the
first
round.
one since 2011.
In the 3rd round, and he'll be a good. It's Amari Rodgers receiver from Clemson. He's gonna be very good. So that's cool. But you could have had your pick of a bunch of really, really good receivers right there at the end of that first round.
Yeah.
That maybe you could have enticed Aaron Rodgers to be a little more happy.
Yeah, that's might be impossible, but
Who knows? Which we'll actually get that in a moment. And one other thing, and this is I don't really care. Decent pick should be fun in the NFL. Rondale Moore, the receiver out of Purdue. So he's you're
talking about the Purdue dude?
Yeah,
that guy's a freak of nature.
Yeah, so
what the hell?
He's 5'7", 160 pounds, little dude. Little dude. Purdue used him all over the field. They backfield, slot, out wide. Like he was all over the field. It was great.
Right.
But again, 5'7", 167 pounds. Put out a video of him squatting 600 pounds at Purdue. This dude is the size of a 12-year-old. And he's squatting 600 pounds. Like little boy, man strength.
It's funny. It's so funny though. You hear the sizing, but like we ever saw that guy like walking down the street like, God damn, that guy's jacked.
Oh, I'm sure he is. Like, I'm sure he's absolutely chiseled.
Oh yeah.
But you're still 5'7", apparently he probably has like 1% body fat because like
Yeah, he's
if
crazy.
you squat
That's
that much,
insane.
like you gotta be just all muscle.
Absolutely insane though. Feat of strength.
It's crazy. So if you haven't seen the video, go look at the video. It's insane.
Yeah. Before we move on to Aaron Rodgers, because obviously we got to talk about Aaron Rodgers and the drama that's going on, I have a couple worst draft teams this year.
Okay. Overall teams, right?
Overall teams. And we actually mentioned two of them already slightly. One of them we have not mentioned.
Okay.
So let's talk about the two we already mentioned. I just mentioned them, the Saints.
Yeah.
6 total picks, 3 offense, 3 defense. None of them really filled the holes that they needed on any side, either side of the ball, and neither of them were good values at the picks they took them at. So that all around, none of them made any type of sense really in my mind.
Okay.
Just in general. The other one, hit them, we talked about them again, the Raiders. Hit on them once, yes, they got one good pick, that your dude. Merrick, yep. But listen to this shit. They drafted 3 safeties. They had 7 picks, 5 of them were defensive picks. 3 of the 5 defenses were all fucking safeties. I mean, like, unless you know something that, like, 2 of them are going to convert to corner, or one's going to be like a Buda Baker come down to the box, or, like, be like a Cam Chancellor come down to the box. Why the hell are you drafting 3 safeties ever? Like, that's unheard of.
Yeah, unless, like, one, like, you know, maybe the one they picked in the 4th round, Tyree Gillespie. Maybe they see him as, like, a stud special teamer. Who knows?
Who knows? But, like, still. You telling me there's not somebody else on the damn draft board that you could have taken outside of, hey, let's go get that guy. Wait, is he a safety? How many safeties do we have? Do we have 2? Fuck it. Hey, I like that guy. Get him anyways. Like, there's somebody better. I know there's got to be.
This has nothing to do with how good their draft was, but they drafted the best name in the draft. One of those safeties they took, his name is Divine Diablo. That is...
It sounds like he's like an angel and the devil at the same time.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a great name.
Yeah, it sounds like he probably will be an angel for the team and a devil on the team, considering he went to the fucking Las Vegas Raiders.
I hope that he's the one who plays down the box. He's like just a mad hitter.
That would be nasty. But then if you miss the tackle, he's gonna let up an 80-yard touchdown.
You live and die.
You live and die. And then I got one more. Don't need to say much about this because we already know this team is a complete dumpster fire of a trash can right now. The Houston Texans. Just the most ridiculous draft. None of them, like, they drafted a QB with their first overall pick at 67th.
Well, yeah, they didn't have a first or second round pick because of past management. So it's hard to fault them.
You already know this team was this draft was stacked with QBs, and they're all going early. So why the hell would you draft a guy at 67?
Well, they did get most people's 6th QB on their board, Davis Mills from Stanford.
Still.
But also, like, they had to take QB. Like, there's a very good chance that Deshaun Watson doesn't play in the NFL again, let alone this year.
Yeah, no, I don't think he plays this year at all, guaranteed pretty much at this point. But it's like, you telling me you want to draft the 6th ranked prospect in the draft with a 67th overall pick. I'm sure you could have gone to a team and traded something for a backup QB that has experience already.
They have nothing to trade. That's the issue. Remember, Bill traded everything away. Mm-hmm. Bill O'Brien traded everything.
Well, that's just another cherry on top of the dumpster fire the Houston Texans are.
Oh yeah, God, I hope that it gets better. I mean, clearly the whole Deshaun Watson situation doesn't come close making things better there. It makes it actually much worse. It'll be interesting. I thought it was interesting, just speaking of Deshaun Watson. Like, we've said this for a long time. There's a very good chance we didn't think Deshaun Watson would ever play in the NFL again, let alone this season. Adam Schefter just put a report like 2 days ago, like there's people within the NFL circle don't believe that Deshaun Watson can play this year. I'm like, no shit.
Like, he's got 22
bad. That looks bad.
It looks bad, but probably because Aaron's like, oh, yeah? Who's your backup right now? Jordan Love? All right, well, I'm out. Have fun losing for the rest of the next 10 years.
Right.
Like, either you work with me, too. Like, you got nobody to lead this team. Like, Aaron Rodgers not on the Packers. The Packers go 3-12 next year.
Yeah, no.
Whatever it is.
There's not enough talent there, period.
So, regardless, Aaron has the ball in his court.
Oh,
without,
for sure.
Without Aaron, Packers are trash the next 5 years.
He's one of the few quarterbacks in the league that can get their way because they're that good.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers goes to any other team, and he's put out Denver, San Francisco, and
Raiders.
Las Vegas as teams that piqued his interest for a trade.
Right.
He instantly makes those teams a contender.
Yeah.
He makes Denver, and Denver has some talent, but they're not a great team. They have some talent, though. He instantly makes them an actual contender because he's that good.
Yeah. Niners, guaranteed play, NFC Championship.
But the Packers nixed apparently the Niners called the Packers about, the week of the draft. Was like, hey, we'll give you the 3rd overall pick.
Yeah.
Another first-round pick. They were going.
That was the same thing with the Broncos. It was reported they enticed the Packers with a really good trade package the night before the draft. But then, obviously nothing happened on draft night, so draft days.
Yeah, it's crazy. Personally, if I'm Mark Murphy, the president of who makes the decisions for the team, because there's no owner, they're the only professional team in the United States that are publicly traded.
Yeah,
publicly owned
he's
team.
president and CEO, so he's got final say.
He makes the final say on this stuff. If I'm him, bye Brian G. Bye bye. I'll pack your shit for you because if Aaron Rodgers wants you, you're gone. It's Aaron Rodgers. And let's be honest, Brian G hasn't been the greatest. He's only been there a few years. He's made some decent things. He's done some decent stuff. I'm not saying he's awful, but he's not great. You just re-signed Kevin King. You literally lost the playoff game because of Kevin King.
You literally lost an NFC Championship game because of Kevin King.
Yeah, and you re-signed him.
So
that's. I mean, I know there wasn't you had nothing else to sign, but Richard Sherman's on the out there. You could have gotten Patrick Peterson. There's another guy who's started 30 games for Pittsburgh the last 2 years, who's a stud, who's out there, Steve Nelson. There's all these guys you could have gotten, but you chose to stick with Kevin King.
Yeah. So for me, as much as when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, I'll say I'll never deny one in a generational arm talent, one of the best QBs of all time. There's no I'll never deny anything he's accomplished on the field. When it comes to his personality off the field drama, he's a big crybaby. He annoys the shit out of me. But in most cases, we see it through the offseason. He's crying because he lost a game. Don't like the play calling. Blah 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 blah. All nitpicky crap. But Mike McCarthy gets fired because obviously they chose Aaron Rodgers' side. Correct choice there.
Yeah, I mean Mike McCarthy.
Between the two of them, you go Aaron Rodgers all day.
But McCarthy's whole system was just so stale.
So bad.
And they've been together for 10 years. It was just time.
It was time. On. But it was you either pick one. You pick Aaron Rodgers. He's crying about it. Whatever. You go with Rodgers. Good decision there. But usually Rodgers, when it comes to Rodgers, I'm shut up, bro. You know what I mean? You're a great talent. You're on a great team. You can make things happen. Just quit whining to the media. But this is the only situation where I'm Rodgers, you got to keep going with the cycle you're going. Because I don't think Aaron doesn't get anything out of this unless he does it the way he's doing it.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
If he's really that unhappy, you have to you have to pull the James Harden.
Yeah.
James Harden just did this to get out of Houston to go to Brooklyn.
Yep.
It's the exact same thing. It's either do it my way or I want out. Because if you're that unhappy, you have to.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he's one of the few guys in the NFL that can make that power move and have it work in his favor.
Yeah, the one that he holds the power as well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he doesn't hold the power because obviously he's under contract still. He can't just force his way into a trade.
No, but he definitely has the Packers by the nutsack.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You talk about few QBs that have that power. He's one of them. Patrick Mahomes is one of them. Russell Wilson's one of them. You're talking the top 3, 4, 5 QBs in the league.
Right.
They're the only ones that even have a chance of running it
Tom Brady, obviously. And
Tom Brady.
And Tampa's done exactly what Tom Brady said. I want this. They said, okay. Yes, Tom.
And look what happened.
Yeah, it's true.
So if you're Packers, you've been to back-to-back NFC Championship games. You've been on the brink. I mean, Matt LaFleur wants him back. He's a great leader. He's the best leader. We know we could build a championship around him again. We're trying to do our best. But you have Brian G being a Dickerson. I don't know. But you know what I mean? I'm with you. If you're Mark Murphy and you're picking between Aaron Rodgers or Brian G here, and Brian G's shown history of being not a great GM. Aaron's a one-generational arm talent of a QB
who can still easily play for another 4 or 5 years.
Exactly. Seems like a Here you go, Aaron.
Also, speaking of Tampa with this too, why aren't more teams just saying, "Fuck the future"? And let's go all in out. You don't get to win championships all that often, right? If you have the quarterback, go all in. If you make it so you are really not oh, we're gonna make the playoffs, but you're not really a Super Bowl contender. Go in and make the moves. Go all in. Get yourself a real Super Bowl contender window for 3 years, and then tear it down and start over.
Tyler, how long I've been saying this?
I don't know.
Since the offseason of Brady and Tampa, I said that they just changed the whole way the NFL organizations, if they're smart, will change their offseason and trading and free agencies.
Yeah.
They went at it in a whole lot. Everybody looks for the future. Everybody looks for who's my franchise guys, this and this and this. Tampa Bay went NBA style.
Yeah.
Let's get the talent. Let's get talent. We're gonna make it work.
No,
we're gonna win.
You don't if you're the Chiefs, you don't do that because you have
you already have your guys.
But you have Patrick Mahomes for 12 years. You can't you don't want to tear it down in the middle of his career.
Right, but I did say if you're a wild card team or you're a fringe wild card team, you make those moves.
But you have Atlanta should do that. You have Matt Ryan, go all in.
Yeah, last Packers, 3 years you got crazy talent there already.
Yeah, go all in. Do everything you have to. Spend as much money as you possibly can. Who cares? Just do it.
Yeah. I've been saying that ever since Tampa won. I was they just changed the whole way it should be looked at, how to run a team and how to get championships.
Yeah, I mean it's all, and again it depends on where you're at with your team in terms of how close you are, what quarterback you have. Yeah. Baltimore can't do that. You have Lamar Jackson for 10 years.
Yeah.
There's the Bills can't do that. You have
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen for 10 years.
Yeah.
Those are teams you don't. But when you're the Packers for sure, Tampa for sure, Atlanta for sure, Seattle maybe.
I would. Russell's on his back 9. He's still top tier. You got talent for days. You got a good GM, good head coach. You absolutely can do it for Seattle.
I mean, more than likely, and Russ has 3 years on his contract. Yeah, go in all in. Pete will retire, and then you ship out Russ for a shitload of draft picks to do a rebuild.
Boom. I don't know.
That would make me cry as a Seahawks fan, but that's the business.
That is the business, and people, I don't know. People need to start looking at it differently, I think.
True. I mean, my whole mindset flipped right this minute.
I've been saying this for months now.
I know, but it had to just resonate with me.
Now I get it.
Now I get it. Higher thinking.
Higher thinking.
One little last kind of fun fact: if Green Bay does ship out Aaron Rodgers, it'll only be the 3rd time in NFL history that the reigning NFL MVP was no longer with the team the next year.
And the 2 previous ones retired.
Yeah, one being Jim Brown.
Yeah.
The other 2 retired young. Jim Brown did it only after 8 seasons, and the other one was a quarterback. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either. But, it was a quarterback.
But he also retired super. I think he went into acting or something else too.
Something like that. Yeah. So this will be the first active player even at that. Yeah. Out of the 3rd ever, but also the only active one.
So to continue to play with just go to another team.
Exactly.
I mean, really, really crazy.
Absolutely crazy, but yeah. Brian G, goodbye. Aaron Rodgers, here you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking try to win a championship. Don't kick a field goal either.
All right, guys, that wraps this one up. This is a pretty bow on top of that one.
That was, yeah, I like it.
All right, well, hey guys, thank you for listening. Let us know your comments on our topics here, or let us know how your mock drafts went too. Hit us up at Herbie Sports Talk, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube comment,
TikTok even.
A little bit. Anyways, hey, again, thank you for joining in, and you guys have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Peace out.